Well, well, well. It's finally here. The super rares for Tournament of Power. I'm really excited. Let's go over these cards and how big they will be and how will they impact the format. Son Goku, Hope of Universe 7, EX Evolve. 1 cost. Place 2 Universe 7 from your hand into the drop area and play this on top of a Universe 7 Goku with an energy cost of 5 or more. Triple attack with critical. Auto. When this card attacks, if your leader card is green, choose up to one of your opponent's cards from their hand and one battle card on the field and place it to the drop area. So, very, very powerful. Unfortunately, the only Goku you're able to evolve this on is the yellow Universe 7 Goku, which is still very good. So by your turn, what would be 5, you're able to play this initially because it costs 5, but when you play that Goku, you untap an energy. So you're able to get this Goku out a lot faster, I guess. The triple attack is very, very strong. So once he gets off, he's going to hit at least once, if not twice. With that critical is very, very powerful. And then now the only downside is you need to have a green leader. Now the 2 green leaders that come to mind is the Universe 7 Goku green leader, which now is much better because you have Roshi. Now that was one concern we had, was having a negate for that leader. But if not him, would be Cell. Cell would be another good green leader to play this Goku with. So, your turn 5, you get him out. He's not really a finisher, but he definitely provides a lot of control, unlike the other Ultra Instinct Gokus, which are, just a finisher. As for how competitive this is going to be, it's hard to say. Turn, 5, 6-ish. It's going to be hard to consistently get that off since the game is progressively becoming faster. So overall, he's good, but one of the lower end super rares. Maiden Squadron, Brienne. So Trigglypuff has the evolve cost of 2 green, 1 colorless, on top of a Brienne de Chateau. Auto. When a card evolves into this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. When this card attacks, if Kakusna and Rosie are in your battle area, choose up to 2 cards from your opponent's hand and place them in the drop area. Okay, so this is very good. You are able to evolve it onto Little Brienne, which is easy because she's a 2-drop that has barrier. So when she sits, she's going to sit there until you're able to evolve. So that's not a problem whatsoever. So you're able to blow something up. And then having the other maidens on the board is very easy. You obviously have that maiden that maiden extra card that lets you play 2 or so maidens on the board. So that's easy. And then top it off, green has that other revival card that you revive, I believe, a 4 less card, and then you draw a card. So you're able to get this try combo out very easily. Top it off too, the maidens, they're all 0 cost 5k combos. So you may not be able to hard summon the other 2 maidens, but you're able to combo them if you attack with a leader, and then play the extra cards to revive them from the discard pile onto the board, and then mess them up. Trigglypuff here has barrier, so you're going to be constantly discarding cards from your opponent's hand. The only way they're going to be able to get through this is by punching it, and 2500 is a little difficult to punch through. So the maiden deck will be good. I'm not sure how fast it's going to be, but I think that with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, there's a lot of potential because your turn 1, you play Brienne, search. Turn 2, play another Brienne or some other good green card. And then turn 3, you have the energy requirement to bring out this Brienne. So you can bring her out, evolve on top, and just let it sit there. Or that turn 3, you play your revival cards to revive the other maidens onto the board, and then your turn 4, you play this Brienne, and then you start just controlling their field. Their hand. And that's huge because you have, obviously, especially with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you're going to have all your negates. You're going to be able to play to be able to protect the Brienne. She has barrier, so the only way you're going to be able to get to her is punching her. And she's 2500 beat stick, so you need something pretty big to punch through it. And if and then obviously you have your negates. And Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you're going to have your negates that are easily to access. You're going to have your, combo summons and whatnot. So, by turn 4, so it is going to be very, very, very powerful if you're able to get her off. So definitely look out for this card. This is one of the I would say mid-tier super rares to look out for. And I guess with all that meowing you hear in the background is a pretty good introduction to Beerus Universe 7 Divine Vanquisher. 10k 1 cost combo, 5 drop, 2 blue, double strike, auto. When this card attacks a leader card, your opponent chooses any number of cards from their hand, battle area, or energy area for which the total cost adds up to 6 or more and place them to the drop area. Holy crap, this is good. So here's the ruling on it. Since the opponent's hand is a secret zone, in a sense you don't know what's in there, in theory your opponent can decide to say, I don't have cards that equal up to 6 in my hand. They're all 0 cost combos, and there's no way for you to verify it. Even though you call a judge or whatnot, they can say whatever they want to say. So in that case, it kind of dumbs down Beerus. I mean, Beerus is very, very strong. Very, very, very strong. So the optimal times to play him is when you know your opponent has 6 energy total cost on the board. So that would be by pretty much your turn 5 or turn 4. Because, all the energy that they play, the levels that they are, so let's say they play a bunch of level 1s, you can clear all those. And then whatever they have on the board, you can clear as well. Then after that, they can choose if they want to discard cards from their hand to, compensate for what would be destroyed on the board. So he is very powerful, but they balanced him out with this, effect where, you're not automatically discarding a bunch of cards from their hand. Your opponent can do that in response to not wanting their board or energy to be wiped. So it's worded really weird. Obviously, Bandai is awful, atrocious when it comes to getting their translations and their wording down technically right, I guess. But Beerus will be a very powerful deck, especially for the mono blue style decks, because mono blue needs this. Their turn 1 and 2 is pretty good. They get their, for example, Objection or Supreme Kai. They got their Boo. But turn 3 or 4, 5 is when they start lacking. 5, 4, they get their big, beats out. But with this, Beerus, and then you have that Whis that, reduces the cost by 1. You have your... you turn 1 Bulma, get at the Whis, and then you just play the Whis. It's very, very, very good. So your Beerus decks are going to be really good. Blue, mono blue with Super Saiyan 3 Goku deck is going to be really good. It's a very, very good card. So I'm just going to reiterate. So when you attack with him, make sure that your opponent has a minimum of 6 energy total added up onto their field. That includes whatever their level of their cards are on their energy and their board. So that way you're at least getting some kind of disruption effect off. Because even if they don't destroy their energy or their field, they're going to discard cards from their hand, which is obviously very good. So definitely one of the top tier cards to look out for. And if you're especially big blue players or Beerus players, this is very good. Trio of the Dangers, Bergamo. I guess you're hearing my dog, so that's another good introduction to this. Okay, so 20k, permanent. If this card is in rest mode, your opponent's battle cards can only attack this card. Permanent. When Lavender and Basil are in play in your battle area, all Trio of the Dangers in your battle area gain barrier. So this is what they were needed. This is what I talked about in the past. Auto. When this card is attacked, it gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. It's a 4-drop, 3 blue, so for mono blue Trio of the Danger decks, and 1 cost for a 10k combo. Don't sleep on this card. This card can either be amazing or it could flop. It all really comes down to what the format's going to be. I believe that Super Saiyan 3, again, in my opinion, one of the better leaders out there, is going to make Trio of the Dangers really good. So it's going to be a mono blue Super Saiyan 3 Trio of the Dangers because, your turn 1, you're able to play the energy card, Lavender, Basil. It just ramps it up. Obviously, you're getting that barrier. So that's what they really needed. Now you're able to get that lockdown and everything's in barrier. And the only way to get rid of them is punching over them. Here's the problem. Now you have this Bergamo on the board. You punch, The attack's going to be directed to Bergamo, and Bergamo is going to be blocking for 2,500. And this thing stacks, so it's not once per turn. So you swing with 1, it's going to be 2,500. You somehow don't get over it. The next attack you have, it's going to be 2,500, and then plus the other 500. So first attack is going to be 20 plus the 5. Second attack, 25 plus the 5. Third attack, 30 plus the 5. It's just going to keep adding up. So in the later games, it's going to be very, very dangerous. Late game, Trio to Danger can be a very powerful and dangerous deck because it's just going to completely lock down your opponent. You can't do anything, and they're going to set up their big board and they're going to go in for the game. So keep your eyes out. This is either going to be very, very powerful or it's going to be mediocre to a bust. So the furry deck is going to be something to look out for. Frieza, Emperor of Universe 7. 2 yellow for 7 cost, 1 cost for 10k, 30,000. EX Evolve. Place 1 Universe 7 from your hand into the drop area and pay 1 cost. And play this on top of Universe 7 Frieza with an energy cost of 5 or more. Triple Strike. Permanent. If your leader card is yellow and your opponent's counter skills and non-keyword auto active skills cannot be activated unless they place 1 card from their life into the drop area. This is a very good card. There are a lot of restrictions to it, which we'll talk about in a second. But let's talk about its effect. So, if when you swing a Frieza, they try to activate a counter. They got to pay a life. They try to activate an auto. They got to pay a life. So you're locking your opponent or putting your opponent in a really bad state where if they're going to want to do anything, they're going to have to take life. And this is very good near the end game because they're going to have, maybe 2 to 3 life. So you're swinging with this Frieza. If you're not going to kill him with a triple strike, you're going to probably end up dwindling them down because they want to activate their counters or their auto effects to try to stop what you're doing or to try to, I guess, get over your card, if they have a good auto effect to blow something up or whatever. Frieza's going to force your opponent to take a life. And that's really, really powerful. But here the problem is all the restrictions. It needs to play on top of a Universe 7 Frieza. And then you need to discard a Universe 7 card. Now, people are talking about using this with the 7-drop Metacooler, that one that allows you to resurrect a Frieza clan from the graveyard and put it on the field. That's really cool. But that's kind of like the most optimal way right now. You obviously can play the Universe 7 Friezas. You can obviously play that 2-drop Agony of Hell, and then you can play the Frieza that messes with barrier cards. So it can be very good. And now it all really depends if we're going to get a little bit more yellow or more Frieza Universe 7 support. But I definitely would keep this in the low tier. Keep an eye out if you are a yellow player and you like Frieza. Definitely collect these because these could be something probably later on down the line. Absolute Justice Jiren, 10 cost, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yellow minimum. 1 cost for 10k, 3,500. Quadruple Strike, pretty big. Permanent. Reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand for each Universe 11 in your battle area. Auto. When you play this card, choose of all of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and place them in the drop area. This is what I call the ultimate finisher. 3,500 is huge. Quadruple Strike. You're going to win when you hit with him. His power, his energy is reduced. So you have to have a minimum of 5 yellow energy to play him. So even if you have 10 somehow Universe 11 cards on the board, you're forced to pay the 5 yellow, which balances them out. But here's the thing. You guys seen the yellow cards. They're very lackluster. Getting a board of yellow cards is very difficult. They don't have that kind of Ginyu Force spam that they really need to be able to be optimal. So unfortunately, Jiren is going to be one of the bad SRs to pull as of right now. Relentless Spirit Super Saiyan Kale. 3 red, 5 drop, 1 cost for a 10k combo, 2,500 double strike with an evolve on top of any Kale. 3 red and 1 colorless. Auto. When a card evolves onto this card, choose all battle cards with 2,500 or less power other than this card and your Khalifa and KO them. So, here's the important thing. Choose all battle cards. So, it doesn't get around barrier. So, which is fair. I mean, Kale is very strong already, and she has a 2-drop that lets you draw. So you're able to get her out at turn 4, blow stuff up, especially if you don't have the Kaba spam package. She can be very good. I can definitely see her maybe be run at a 2, maybe side deck the other 1 or 2 for those huge field decks. For example, like Dr. Giro or the Metacooler stuff and whatnot. So because it blows everything up with 2500 or more or less power. I'm sorry. So it's gonna, if you have a whole board and let's say the Dr. Mew deck, not Dr. Zero, Dr. Mew deck, it is spanned with characters, you're gonna blow the whole thing up. So it's pretty good, pretty well balanced. 5-drop 2500. I can definitely see some play. So for you Universe 6 or Kale players, keep an eye out for this for sure. Universe 7, Saiyan Prince Vegeta. 2 red, 5 drop, 1 cost for 10k, 20,000. Auto, when you play this card from your hand, if your leader card is red, choose up to 1 of your other Saiyan battle cards in play, which is Universe 7 or Universe 6, and switch it to active mode. Both this card and that card gain 10,000 power and triple strike for the duration of the turn. Vegeta's a finisher. He's going to be very good for your Veggie decks, so if you're playing like some kind of Khalifa deck, or maybe, I guess, Pan Universe deck. Very, very good. Unfortunately, he's so limited to Universe 7 and Universe 6. So you can't splash him in any kind of like, I guess, Pan beatdown red deck. But for your Veggie package or your Khalifa deck, he's going to be very good. So I could see him maybe being played 1 or 2 of. He's going to be probably one of the lower tier cards, so just right behind Jiren. If you end up pulling this Vegeta, not going to be the best one to pull. And last, but definitely not least, one of my favorite characters behind Gohan, Hit. Foreseeing Hit. 4-drop, 2 red, 0-5k combo, wonderful, 20k attack with double strike. Auto. When you play this card from your hand, your opponent reveals their hand. Choose up to 2 battle cards with 3,500 or less power from their hand and send them to the warp. At the end of your opponent's next turn, return all those cards sent to the warp back to their hand. The reason is the cards you pick in your opponent's hand, if they're not obviously super combos or the most obvious battle cards to pick, you want to pick cards that can mess with your opponent's plays. If you're a player that pretty much knows how every deck works, this is a very dangerous card because you're able to pick, cards that other people wouldn't think of picking, but that they need those cards to be able to get their optimal plays. You're stopping them. So even if you get this, turn 3, let's say in Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and they don't have, their ultimate set board piece. So let's say they have a Kaba in hand and maybe a Broly, 1-drop Broly, but then everything else they have is the 6-drop Broly and like Khalifa or something, you're most likely going to be picking that Kaba and that 1-drop Broly. Why? Because they need those pieces to be able to evolve on or to combo with or to further extend. So, and to top it off, you now have seen what their hand is. So now you know how to play around what they're going to do or what they could do. So early game, fantastic. You're reading your opponent. You play smart. You're going to be able to play around what your opponent's going to play. Late game is really good because you're going to get rid of those super combos. They're very powerful cards, so you can push in for game. And even if you don't push in for game, now their next turn, they're not going to be able to push in because you got rid of those super combos or those really, huge combo pieces. So Hit's very good. And I can see a lot of decks splash red. I mean, red has very, very good cards that can be splashed in many different colors. You got, Kaba, Jiren, now Hit, ability to unleash Gohan, chain attack Trunks. You got all these cards that are really, really good that could be splashing with other colors. I can even almost see this in masked Saiyan decks because now you're pushing your opponent, messing them up with crit, and then now you're going to get rid of 2 cards and send it to their warp to your 4th turn or 5th turn, and then you're going to push in for game so they can't block any of it, and now they're out 2 cards, and they didn't get any advantage because you critted them, so another really good combination. Unfortunately, it's turn 4 or 5 and Mass Saiyan can't last that long. But you know, it's really, really cool. And a lot of other decks can do stuff like this. So I can definitely see Hit being splashed in a lot of decks. In my opinion, I'm very, very excited to be able to play Super Saiyan 3 Red with Hit and all like the best cards. If you guys are looking forward to that, please give me a thumbs up. If I get 10 thumbs up, I'll post a deck profile and start talking about it. I'm really excited for Hit. And finally, we get a playable Hit card. I couldn't ask for anything more. And the art is amazing. Definitely one of the best cards to pull. This set was definitely very interesting. A lot of cards that we got were very lackluster, but these super rares, you've noticed, can make a difference in the format. I'm excited for, obviously, the red cards and Hit. I'm excited to see Furry Force do well. I'm going to find it hilarious to see the Feminist deck do well, or Maiden deck. Let me know what you guys are excited for. Please comment below, and let me know what you're excited for. What deck are you going to play? Please give a thumbs up. Like I said, if I get 10 thumbs up, I'm going to post up that Hit Super Saiyan 3 deck. And yeah, if you guys want to see that Universe 7 deck, let me get 20 thumbs up, and I'll post it up too. I'm really excited, and I hope you guys are. And we'll hopefully have some videos up pretty soon. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.